The idea for the Glassworker, I think it started when I visited the Murano glassblowers in Italy. I was 14 years old, or 15, I don't remember, but I saw how they made the glass, and I was fascinated by the process, and I thought that the end result is obviously amazing and beautiful, but the process of making it was just as beautiful. And I always wondered why nobody has made a film on this. Again, not thinking that I would be making a film on glass blowing, but I think that's really where the seed of the idea started.
How challenging was to make a film like this, which is so artistic, so beautiful, in a country like Pakistan, whose animated industry is not as strong as others?
It was extremely difficult making this film in Pakistan because in 2014, when I really started on this journey, there was no hand-drawn animation industry in the country. Animation was being explored in CG, and some remarkable work was being done there, but again, it was all by independent studios, and there's no real infrastructure for something like this. So we had to essentially build a studio ourselves and make this movie, and that is as difficult as it sounds. It took a lot of dedication, a lot of passion. I'm very grateful I got to work with a remarkable team in Pakistan and a remarkable team internationally throughout these 10 years to actually bring this vision to life.
You've mentioned a lot of times how much you love Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki, so I wanted to ask you how challenging was to create a film that on one hand celebrated this studio and this director, and on the other make a film that has its own essence in every aspect, in aesthetics and story.
The movies that moved me, I'll say that again. That's a very good question. I think the most important aspect for me was to try and capture the magic that the movies that moved me captured. And if I could make a movie that is even 1%, evokes 1% of the feeling that the movies that inspired me evokes, then I feel like I would have done my job right. But of course, my love for the Japanese animation industry is no secret. I love the work that they produce, and also my love for Western animation, and specifically the earlier works of Disney, were huge inspirations, not in terms of the aesthetics of the film, but in terms of just the way that they deal with light and dark themes. Pinocchio is a movie that has stayed with me to this very day. I saw it when I was a child, and it's just a remarkable film, and it also evoked this deep sense of fear of the ocean in me as well because of the way Monstro the whale was depicted. But it fascinated me that what is perceived in terms of a children's medium could actually have so much depth to everything that it's showcasing. And I tried to capture that with the Glassworker. And of course, Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata do that in every single film that they make. So it was important to try and capture that feeling, and hopefully I've done that.
Yes, you did. And also while I was watching it, I started thinking that it has a lot of classic live action films like Dr. Zhivago,
Yes.
like War and Peace. So what other influences did you have from literature or classic movies?
Dr. Zhivago was a big influence on the movie, not only in terms of the visuals and themes in the film, but also the music. Lara's theme is something that I grew up playing on the piano, and some motifs in the film, like in the Glassworker's Melancholy, the piano piece, you can hear me evoking Lara's theme there. The Dr. Zhivago was a big influence on this film.
Also, now that you mentioned that you pay a lot of attention to the music, which is awesome.
Yes, no, I'm a classically trained pianist and composer as well, so I co-composed the score. I worked with another brilliant composer, and I think music is such an important part of the films that I love. I wanted to, again, try and capture that the music angle in this film as well, and obviously taking it a step further and having an actual musician in the story in Elise's character.
The Glassworker has a very nice symbolism. I think that one of the most beautiful is the glass itself, because it's something very fragile, but on the other hand, very strong. How did you conceive this duality?
That was one of the central ideas in the film, that life is beautiful but fragile, like glass, and glass requires care and consideration to shape its beauty, much like life itself. And that metaphor and juxtaposition of a glass shop set during wartime, one of the most fragile things that we can create, set in the most devastating things that we can create, and that contrast was something that was very, very interesting to me, and the idea just naturally evolved from there.
And also, it's a very universal theme, especially right now, because it's a war movie that claims how important is peace. So, what do you think is the importance of this message in the actual context?
So, I wrote this story over 10 years ago, late 2013, early 2024. Never did I think that I did not think it would take 10 years to make, but never did I think that by the time the film is done and comes out, that the themes would still be relevant to this day. I thought I was trying to capture a certain moment in time that was happening to me in this story. But that's also my naivety, and it's sad that it's still relevant, and it always will be relevant, because I think the central thesis statement in the film that Elise's letter ends on, to be an artist one must create, because without art and music, what do we have in this world full of conflict and war? I think that's just a very important idea that I wanted to capture in the film. And that line, Mariam actually came up with that line, the art director and assistant director on the film. But growing up in Pakistan, growing up around all of the conflict that was in that part of the world changed after 9/11. So there was always this underlying anxiety growing up. That's what I wanted to capture in this film. How I grew up in Pakistan, not experiencing the devastation of war, but hearing about it and it happening in my periphery, basically. So it was an exploration of that, but ultimately it turned into something more.
And I also wanted to ask you about Manuel Cristóbal, and how did you two meet, and how did he enter the stage in this film?
Manuel has been such an incredible blessing to this project. I'd heard about Manuel in 2013 when Studio Ghibli was releasing his film Wrinkles in Japan. And I was like, Ghibli never releases anything. What is this? This isn't their film. This film must be very special. And then I'm very grateful I got to see the movie, and it was a remarkable film. And then I heard of the producer, Manuel Cristóbal. I was like, this man is an amazing film producer. And the way I actually met Manuel is Mariam, my wife, and also the co-founder of the studio, was invited to speak at a Women of the World conference in Pakistan. And the person who was heading our panel, her name was Rashna Abdi, brilliant designer and artist in Pakistan. She saw the work and said, I need to connect you to an old friend from college. And I was like, sure, I'd love to. I didn't know who it was at the time, and it turned out to be Manuel Cristobal. So I had a kind of, oh my goodness moment, tried to play it cool, showcase the work to Manuel. Thankfully, he really liked the film, and here we are now. And Manuel has just been such an incredible presence in this project. Our producer, the other producer on the film, Usman Riaz, has learned so much from Manuel, and I've learned so much from him, and it's been a remarkable journey. And his guidance and wisdom really helped us navigate the international animation space and making the project seen. And yeah, I am forever indebted to Manuel Cristóbal.
You released in NSC, the film was chosen as a representative for Pakistan at the Oscars. It's been a brief trip, but how has it been right now?
Premiering the film at Annecy was very special because the best animated films in the world show at Annecy. And for my first animated film to be amongst films like that was a huge boost to everybody's confidence and just belief that this whole journey that we've been on has been worthwhile, and sharing it with the Annecy audience was very, very special. For the film to be selected as Pakistan's submission to the Academy Awards, that is a huge honor. Pakistan has never submitted an animated film, but I also know that the journey ahead is a very difficult and very long journey, and everything is in God's hands now. I'm going to give it my best. I don't know what is going to happen, but I know that I'm going to try, and we'll see.
How do you feel that just as, I don't know, Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata have been an inspiration for you, that now you may be an inspiration for young artists at Pakistan?
The body of work that Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata and I would say Hiromasa Yonebayashi have made at Studio Ghibli is remarkable. Every single film, in my opinion, is perfect. I haven't seen something like that done in the world, to create such a remarkable body of work and to take on so many challenges and themes and ideas and explore them so articulately and beautifully is remarkable. So I'm honored and grateful you said that, and I would love to be an inspiration to others, but I have a long way to go before I can ever be in the same sentence as those people.
And just as a last question, what's next for you and for Mano Animation Studio?
Well, currently we're working on this entire campaign. It's going to be, as I said, a long journey to get the film seen by the right people. I'm doing this for the first time. I've never done this in my life, so I'm learning a lot as we go along, and I'm very grateful to be on this journey. And we'll see where we end up. But in terms of my filmmaking, making one film is a miracle. So if I'm ever blessed with the opportunity to make another one, I will be very, very grateful and wholeheartedly put everything I can into the next project. There are a lot of things I want to tackle and explore. There are a lot of things that I've learned from this first production that I know I'll be able to do better in the next production whenever that time comes. I have everything ready for it. I just have to be ready to embark on that journey again. And hopefully soon I will be.